Before we begin, I apologize that this video will not have its clips matching what I'm talking about as accurately as usual. This game is filled with spoilery shocks and reveals as early as the 30-minute mark, so it was difficult to record scenes and dodge around the big bits to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. But let's get past the FYI and into this horror-based visual novel filled with murder, drama, and mental illness. Here is my review of Corpse Factory for the Nintendo Switch. This game is about a rumored website known as the Corpse Girl site. They say you can request a death from her, and she'll make whoever you want die. The victim receives a photo of their own corpse, a photo from the future, shortly before they become that photograph. The plot follows Noriko and her friends as the website increases in popularity and people all over Tokyo begin dying. Not just from receiving photos either. Some of them receive their actual corpse. What I really like about this game is the direction not being anything like what I thought. It's really deceptive in a very different kind of story with who you follow and where they go. And the further you go, the further the plot thickens as reveals happen. Even one of the late game villain reveals that I thought was fairly predictable, I still felt shocked at when I saw it come true. The only complaint I have is how it ends. The first two acts are great with the build-up and suspense, though the final two feel a bit quick on their pacing. There are a lot of great moments and reveals, and what happens with Noriko once everything is said and done, I felt pretty happy and satisfied with. But many of the plot points happen so quickly in that second half. We get a lot of 1 month later transitions where characters are in completely different places and could have been filled a bit with how they got there. This is especially the case between Acts 2 and 3 where a huge moment happens and we don't really see character reactions to it. One plus about the game is that it is dubbed in English with pretty good voice work. You can easily autoplay and listen to a lot of this, kind of like an anime. When it comes to gameplay, this is a visual novel with some light dialogue choices. As you trek through the game, you'll be watching cutscenes play out with a few choices thrown in to gear you towards particular character events and endings. Now with progression, you go through cutscenes as they pop up. You can navigate them with a variety of features like autoplay, skip, viewing the log, saving and loading at any point. Very typical VN stuff. And eventually you'll get to a dialogue choice. You don't have many of these and they are pretty much just for getting character moments and one of the endings. Thankfully, the game allows you to save at the dialogue choices for easy access later on. It's a pretty by-the-books progression system, though unlocking endings is interesting. I'm not sure if the game was designed for it or my Switch copy had a bug, but once I unlocked the hell ending or the bad ending, I could immediately go into endings on the main menu and watch all of them, including the true ending. It even unlocked some of the event artwork images that I didn't see in my playthrough. I want to say this is a glitch, but I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comments if this happened to you as well. Speaking of endings, let's go into content and length. If you run the game on autoplay, you'll get to your first ending after playing for around 10 to 12 hours. Plenty for the asking price of $20. Next up is presentation. Visually, the game looks great. The backdrops and event images are very detailed, while character portraits aren't animated, it looks good. The only issue I had with presentation and performance were occasional long load times. This was when loading a save file or going from one major sequence to another. Sometimes these would span 30 to 60 seconds. It's also worth noting that these transition sequences will disable autoplay. When the game resumes, you'll have to tap Y to re-enable it. But that's all I got for presentation, so let's go into battery life. On the original model, Corpse Factory gets a battery range of 4 hours and 3 up to 4 hours and 33. The Nintendo Switch Lite gets a range of 4 hours and 26 up to 5 hours and 34. The Redbox or V2 2019 model gets a range of 6 hours and 43 up to 7 hours and 41. And the OLED model gets a range of 7 hours and 4 up to 8 hours and 27. In conclusion, Corpse Factory is a horror VN that went in all kinds of interesting directions I wasn't expecting. Now on the downside, it's got long load times here and there, and the second half proceeds a little too quick on the story, leaving some open questions of how things happened the way they did. But overall, it's a really good little horror VN that had me thinking about it the more I played. Reviews to Go rates Corpse Factory for the Nintendo Switch a 9 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.